I know. It's just like, what are you gonna do? But anyways, I thought we could discuss some of the medications that we and most patients will take at some point,
Sounds
maybe for
great.
long term, maybe for short term, never know. But we'll kind of just go down the list. I'll tell you what I take, and then you can go through what you take. I know we take some different things, different doses. Nothing's just the same.
It's not
Always
standard.
changing, and it's always changing. Your
That's true.
doses go up and down, mostly just Prograf. Anyways, I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Sounds great.
So I take for my 3 main drugs, I take mycophenolate, I take prednisone, and I also take Prograf, which is
Well, that
tacrolimus.
makes two of us. So much for it not being standard, but those are the ones I take too.
Now, is that what you've always taked?
No,
I'm gonna
take it.
edit that.
It's fine.
Is that what you have always taken?
No, it's not what I've always taken. Close. I didn't start with mycophenolic acid or mycophenolate. I started with Imuran. Actually, I didn't even start with Imuran. Is it Cellcept? Does that sound right? It's been
Oh,
many
Cellcept.
years.
Cellcept is mycophenolate.
Okay. So I did
So
start with
you
that.
probably had the mycophenolate. Did you take, was it like 360 milligrams?
That's what I take now. So I guess I did start. I started with Cellcept. I didn't tolerate that very well, and
Yeah,
so I got
it's rough on the
switched.
stomach.
It is. I got switched to Imuran, and I took Imuran for like 8 years before I got put back on mycophenolate.
Yeah, I've been on mycophenolate from day one. They put me on the other stuff, the acid, the mycophenolic acid or whatever it's called, to start the second one so
Yeah.
that it would be easier on my stomach. I don't think it was working because they pretty quickly changed me off of that back to mycophenolate.
Okay.
Oh, the wild thing is my first transplant, I took 1,500 milligrams of Cellcept twice a day for
That's a
the
lot.
entire 7.5 years. Let me just tell you what that does to the old stomach.
Mm,
Anyways,
I handled it so poorly. I had to go get acupuncture to stop myself from throwing up. So I
it
kind of
wasn't
get it.
even well, for me, it wasn't throwing up. I don't really get that nauseous feeling. Mine comes out the other end, you know?
Graceful topics today.
I'm gonna be real. There's nobody out there taking 1,500 milligrams of mycophenolate twice a day, and is
Yeah.
not like, "Oh yeah, I can relate."
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's rough. So now, since this transplant, I take 500 milligrams. So I just take one tablet morning
Okay.
and night. Much much better this go around.
Okay.
And then I still take 10 milligrams of prednisone. I know the doctors would like me to be on 5, least amount as I possibly can. I've tried to come down to 5, and it just feels like I'm lacking something. It's
Yeah.
almost it feels like an energy, like, boost almost. I talked with the team, and I told them, I said, "I'd really like to just stay at 10 if that's possible,"
Yeah.
and they were like, "Yeah," and I said, "It's more of a at this point, it's like I'd rather enjoy the life and pay the consequence on the back end. Just I feel better on 10. I have more of an appetite.
Yeah. It's important.
So, yeah, so they were cool with it. They were like, "Yeah, we get it. The
Yeah.
whole point of doing this is so that you're comfortable." And then Prograf, right now I'm taking 2 milligrams twice a day, but I mean that's
So many
changed a lot.
times.
Yeah, every time you go get blood work, if it's not perfect, they're gonna change your dose.
Yeah. I just actually have been dealing with that for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's just having to go in, get blood work, 'cause you do gotta do it, like, once a week until they can figure out where you're stable.
Yeah.
So, it's not just a one-time thing, it could be weekly for a month,
Yep.
sometimes multiple times a week. I don't really mind because I don't really feel it anymore, but, yeah, getting poked all the time, checking for that. But once you have a good dose and you have a stable you can go on that dose for a while. It's always crazy to me how, you can be on something and then just over time it can change. Like, just something
Yeah.
changes. And it's like, "Alright, well, now you're gonna take either less or more."
Yeah. But I
It
didn't do
doesn't make
anything
any
different,
sense. What doesn't make sense to me is when they're like, "Oh, you don't have to take as much." Like,
which is where I am now. They dropped my
yeah,
dose for the first time in like 2 years.
are you like
And
toxic levels?
yeah, not quite toxic, but having a little struggle with my kidneys. And I think because it was sort of like edging towards the upper range of therapeutic, not I don't think it was in the toxic range. That's I've kind of stopped reading the medication like the lab reports because I know just enough to be dangerous and I was making myself super anxious and I was calling my coordinator like worried about things I really didn't need to be worried about because I was trying to read them and I kind of understood but I didn't. So I really stopped looking at it. But I think it was just edging towards that higher range. And because my kidneys are a little also on that range where they aren't super comfortable with the creatinine levels, I think they made the choice to kind of drop it a little bit and
Mhm.
do labs for a couple weeks on this dose just to make sure that it like the prograph was in therapeutic range and maybe my kidneys were improving a little. I
Right.
don't know. I know last week I got the message that everything's fine. We don't need to change anything else. And so, but yeah, like the prograph level is kind of the most mystifying because you would think that over time you would need more. But
Just a
typically
lot
if
of it
my
just doesn't
level
make sense.
it doesn't. Typically if my prograph dosage is changed, it's usually to lower it.
Yeah, well, that's what happens yeah, usually although sometimes I've gone in, like, later than the 12 hours because they want you to
Yeah.
be as close to that 12-hour point as you possibly can without taking the dose,
Right.
but there's been times where I've been pushed to, like, 13, 14 hours, it'll be low,
I know.
and then they'll increase it, and I have to, like, tell them, "Wait, wait, 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 the timing's not right, so this isn't
Right.
necessarily an accurate reading of
Right.
what my levels are," so that's when it turns into, like, 3 or 4 visits to get your blood
Yeah. Yes. So
but
yeah,
yeah, I
I'm
mean, just a half a milligram difference. It's usually
oh yeah. Well, and the Prograf, they really, because they don't really want all the extra side effects that come with it because it is pretty hard on the rest of your body. So I
yeah.
think they do really pay attention to that one very closely, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
I'm taking 7.5 milligrams of prednisone
Prednisone.
because
Man, you
no, no,
almost
no.
I was like, 7
I
and a
take
half
like
a Prograf?
I think I was taking 3 milligrams total of Prograf.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And now I'm on 2.5. So I take 1.5 in the morning and one at night. And again, that extra half milligram that they dropped off obviously has made enough of a difference because they haven't made any more adjustments since
Yeah.
my labs. So, I think just I used to get really upset about it and like pay attention and track everything. And I had to force myself to stop because I was turning into a crazy person. And I was like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. And they're like, no, we expect these values to be out of range. We know that that's going to happen. We're not
Yeah.
worried about it. When it gets to, you know, a certain point, then we'll have a conversation, but it's not me. I'm always like, "Oh no, my kidneys are out of whack. I'm going to need a kidney transplant now." Or
Mhm.
my liver's acting a little funky. I'm going to need a liver transplant. And they're like, "No, it's not going to happen that way. It's going to be okay."
Yeah, about 6 months ago, they told me the same kinda thing, like, "It's nothing urgent, but,
Yeah.
you've been on these meds now for, like, 12, almost 13 years, same
Yeah.
kidneys."
It's
They're
just hard.
amazed that I've gotten 12 years out of I call them my stocks.
Your stock organs.
Yeah,
Nice.
those are my OEM parts.
Said that the other day, and Dustin was like, "Nobody else would find that funny but us." I'm like, "Yeah,
Dustin, I think
I
it's
know."
funny.
Oh, he
I
does too.
Yeah. Oh,
We
yeah.
joke about that stuff in our house all the time, but I have to remind myself when we're around people who don't know us as well. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta control the dark humor because other people will not find this funny."
Or somebody will
But
get offended and you're like, "I'm the wrong person you're the wrong person to be offended." Yeah, but like we said before, you gotta laugh about it.
yeah,
Way
yeah,
way too serious. I mean, if you take it seriously, it could really consume you. And
and it
I've
yeah,
gone through phases of that where transplant does consume just everything, you get sick, you start wondering, "Oh god, is this the
yeah.
start to the
Am I
decline?"
is
You
this
know what
the
I mean?
end? Yes, I've very definitely had, especially because I'm over 11 and a half years out from my first transplant.
Mhm.
There are a lot of moments that I'm like, something doesn't feel quite right. Like my spirometry will dip just a little bit. And it's not anything to be worried about. It'll rebound in a couple of days, but that stuff's always in the back of your mind. And then when they're changing your medication, in the beginning when I was taking Cellcept and Valsite and all of the others that they give you. I just
Mhm.
they they don't really. I think I remember, and again, recollections may vary. It's been a long time. A lot of these medications cause memories, side effects with your
Yeah.
memory. But I think I remember Dr. Keller saying in the beginning they kind of do have a standard protocol for like immediately post transplant, and it's sort of by weight, but not always. And so they were giving me a lot of more medication probably than my size would need. Y'all
Yeah.
can't see me, but I'm 4 feet 10 inches tall and I weigh about 100 pounds. I'm not very big. And I think I remember him saying something about I'm taking the same dose that a lot of other people are taking that are a lot bigger than I
Mhm.
was. And it's just sometimes the medications are really hard on your stomach. And so he took me off of two medications, and Cellcept was one of them, and he replaced that with Imuran. And there was something else that I really should have taken for a little bit longer, and I'm positive he replaced it with something else, but I can't remember now. And he was like, I've kind of traded out all your medications that I can trade out. And I was like, oh no, what does that
Hmm.
mean? And really, just he was kind of saying, like, we got to give this a chance to work. I know that you're not feeling great. And I really was like not able to eat much. And funny enough, there was the PDQ. We used to live right around the corner from the PDQ, close to the hospital.
Mhm.
And I ate so much of it because it was the only thing I would eat in that first couple of months. I ate so much of it. I can't even, like, I won't eat. I will not eat PDQ chicken fingers probably ever again in my whole entire life. I'll eat a chicken sandwich from there, but I probably will never touch another PDQ chicken finger because of that. But I ended up having to do acupuncture to stop the nausea and vomiting because it was so bad after that first like 8 or 9 weeks. I was just like, I can't. That was worse than anything else. And it was all caused by the medications and just not really being able to handle them. And after those initial 3 months, you do get to stop taking some things.
Mhm.
Take one of the antivirals for a full year because I had not been exposed to CMV or I think Epstein Barr before my transplant, but my donor had. And so they were, I had to take a couple of things for a little longer than normal if I had been exposed and had already had some antibodies because I
Mhm.
didn't have any. And those, they were really hard on they're just hard on your stomach and makes you sick. But
Yeah.
after the acupuncture, I felt normal again. I was able to eat and maybe get a
Isn't it
little
wild? Like,
nauseated.
what would have happened if you didn't discover acupuncture?
Well,
Or what
it's
happens if you are, like, for some I mean, when you're chronically ill, you're not usually afraid of needles at some point, but
new.
what if you just didn't like needles and you're like, "No, there's no way I'm doing that. I can't
Yeah.
overcome that fear." What
And it was, I mean, well, like you said, if you have had a transplant, needles are minor by
Yeah.
that point. But it was really kind of a last ditch effort. Dr. Erasmus was like, hey,
Great.
I know a guy over in neurology. Would you be willing to try it? He was like, insurance won't pay for it. It'll be totally out of pocket. And I was like, honestly, at this point, I don't care how much it is. I will figure it out. Yes, I will give it a try. And I
Yeah,
think I
thank God
went,
you did because
yeah,
I mean,
I
there's
went,
nothing worse than when you can't just constantly puke in, because then you're going in for what people don't understand is, you when you get dehydrated and you take the meds that we take, like, it's way different because it's not just dehydration, we might have to go in for anywhere from a 2 to an 8-hour infusion of
yep,
whatever it might be,
iron and
magnesium, iron.
magnesium.
Yeah, just constantly, and so, yeah, it is definitely something I would feel very confident to say that you wouldn't be here today if it hadn't been for that acupuncture,
It
because you can't
definitely,
it's just not sustainable. You can't
it's not.
sustain life when you're constantly puking
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever that you're doing,
Well,
but
and you need so much more nutrition and you need more protein and you need more calories in those initial few months because your
yeah.
body is healing from major, major, major
Mhm.
surgery. And
Still
so
in
getting
shock.
dehydrated, not having an appetite, like those are a big deal. Those are
Mhm.
And they don't feel like they should be. I think those are kind of those things that you don't really anticipate until you've been through it, or unless you know somebody that's gone through it before you have.
Mhm.
And so, like, there was just not much that I was willing to eat. But whatever I would eat, my family and friends were going to make sure I had it. But after
Oh, yeah.
after having
Yeah, when you found
acupuncture,
yeah. It's
it
like
was
all
like,
go.
yeah, everything started getting better. And I don't tolerate narcotic pain medications very well either. So that was part of
Yeah, I
it.
don't either.
I didn't realize it. I'd only really had wisdom teeth surgery when I was in high school. And I remember just feeling gross with the pain medications, but I did not take them beyond that. So I didn't know that the
Mhm.
narcotics were going to cause that. Now, when I broke my arm in February, I knew. I already knew. And I was like, we're not going to chance it. I took like one pill, immediately made me sick. And I was like, forget it. I'm not taking them. I'll suffer through the pain. So you kind of learn as you go. But if it's the first like super major surgery you've had, you don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, you have hopes, you have and it's weird it's it's like anything else that you envision when you haven't gone through it. You're
Yeah.
never even close to,
No,
like your vision of everything is just so far off from reality.
it is.
And it's a journey where it's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen, and you have to fight. You have to fight.
You do.
Even when you feel like, "I feel hopeless, I feel
Yes.
like this is just" I wake up, I take a step forward, but I also take 3 steps back.
It's
And
like that for a while in the
yeah,
beginning.
it can be, knock on wood. My 2nd one, I mean, I left the hospital in 8 days, and
Haven't looked
I've
back.
never been back. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
I've been back for, but I
Yeah.
haven't been admitted. I haven't been admitted to the hospital in over 5 years, you know?
I think I've only been admitted once, maybe. Trying to remember. I know in that initial 3 months, I was admitted at least once with
Mhm.
an idiopathic fever, which was probably from dehydration, probably from, in the beginning, if you get any kind of fever, any kind of slight infection, it's going to feel like an overreaction. But they have to because they have to make sure that they protect
Yeah.
everything that they can so that, when your body is
They're
still getting
protecting their
used to,
investment,
and I mean, and your life.
but
So,
that's their investment. I mean, they've made
yeah,
they've invested a lot of time into our
sur-
lives.
into our survival.
It's just
Yeah.
you always wonder how they can keep how do you keep that many patients? Just never felt like I walked in there and were like, "Oh, they got the wrong folder. That
Nope.
we're discussing somebody else." No, it was just like
They know.
6 months ago or 3 months ago where we literally left off. It's
Yeah.
just right back there, and it's like, I know they read the files. I know that they know who's coming in, but still, that's impressive.
Get back to being a teacher. I mean, when I taught middle school, I had hundreds. I had over 100 students every school year. And I knew those kids. I knew about their families, I knew their strengths, I knew their weaknesses. I knew what they would tell me they couldn't do, but I knew very
Yeah,
well that they could. So I
you
think
could push them.
it's a yeah, but I think it's a calling. I don't think just anybody can be a transplant doctor. I think you really have to sort of have that personality that, they
Yeah,
never get it.
being
We've talked about it every time. They
yeah,
don't
being
ever make you feel like
compassionate
you're hopeless. They're
and
problem
then, like,
solvers.
confidence. I would say those are the
Yeah.
2 things that those are the 2 biggest qualities that I appreciate from the transplant team is
Yeah.
their confidence in their decisions, and then,
Yeah.
they didn't baby you.
Mm-mm.
However, you didn't feel like you were being just tossed into
Rushed
the
off.
wolves. Just
Well, and you
somebody
remember
else's
they
problem or go to a different department and
yeah.
figure it out, or it just never felt like that. It was just like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we can help you. We're gonna help you. This is how we're gonna do it." And here
And
I
they
am.
expect it. They've done it so many times now that I remember I wanted the 30-day medication box because I was like, we're going to put all that medication together for 30 days, set it and
Yeah.
forget it. And they were like, no, you're not. They were like, don't do more than a week at a time because in the beginning, we're drawing labs. What is it? Every 2 weeks? It's very
I
frequent.
would imagine it was
It may have even been
right
every
away
week,
when I was first transplanted, I think I was back to the hospital, like, at least 3 days a week.
maybe
At
so.
least. I mean,
It was a lot
I had bronchoscopies and chest X-rays and
all the time.
blood work almost God, I remember having bronchs twice in a week.
Yes. I don't know that I don't know that I ever had twice a week, but I feel like I was getting them every 2 weeks. It may have been longer than that, but it felt very frequent.
And I was in the ICU during my first one. I just remember Doctor Alvarez just coming in and just sit in the chair. We're just gonna give you a little propofol and check things out." My mom's just sitting there.
It
I mean,
gets to be
they
so
didn't
commonplace.
"Oh, here comes the bronch machine," and I'm over here
Yep.
like, "Yeah, give me that propofol."
That is
Give
not a
me
medication that you take after all of that, however.
give me the propofol.
But yeah, eh, I don't know that I have a preference. I'm gonna be really honest. I
I just
had
get really
so many.
groggy with I get really groggy with, person.
That's usually, I think, I don't know. It's been too long. I
Yeah.
haven't had one, knock on wood, in like
Well, I
3
haven't had
years.
one in forever. I keep thinking about it, like, "Hey, should I put a call in just a safety check?" But, no, I mean,
I
I haven't
mean,
had one in a very long time since post-surgery, whatever that was, 6 months?
I prefer to avoid them if at all possible. They are commonplace now, but they do kind of stress me out. But, you
Yeah,
know, bringing it back around to medication so we don't get too far off the
yeah.
trail today. When you were talking about confidence, they know. Like they just
Mhm,
know we're going to be adjusting these medications. There are going to be hiccups, there are going to be dips, there are going to be,
mhm.
we're not
Some
worried
you may
about it.
some you maybe be able to tolerate, others, we have to find something else or get creative, and
We got to
everybody's
lock our
different.
tool
I
bag.
mean, they but it's, like back to the acupuncture, like, they won't stop. They won't
No.
stop until they've literally exhausted everything, and I
Yeah, oh yeah.
appreciate that.
Which, for people who are going through it for the first time and maybe don't really know anybody else who has,
Mhm.
I think because you don't know what you don't know, they're not going to
Right.
necessarily say, "Hey, we might be monkeying with your medications a lot and it might make you feel like we don't know what we're doing, or you might feel like you're running out of options, but just
Mhm.
trust us."
Yeah.
So just feeling like, well, that one didn't work. There are other things that we can try. There are other things in the toolbox, and stuff changes so quickly now with research and development and new medications hitting the market. Like the stuff that we're taking now may not even be the good stuff in a couple more years. There may be something, that is even easier on the rest of your organs, but
Yeah.
it does the job. So there's always development. It's always getting better. I mean, one of the medications that I take now for cystic fibrosis didn't even exist before I had a transplant.
Yeah, it's
It was
funny
in
because I just
development.
they just have in the last I guess the last 10 years, have developed a drug that I think can really help improve pulmonary fibrosis. And when
Interesting.
I was a kid yeah, I was a kid, they had nothing. I mean, that's why I took prednisone. I mean, it wasn't the cure all,
Yeah.
obviously, but now there's a drug called OFEV, OFEV. I'm sure it's short for something, but yeah, a lot of people who have pulmonary fibrosis take it. Some see improvement.
Which is
I
awesome.
mean, yeah, who knows? But,
You don't want to
I'm
have a
still
transplant just to have a transplant. Trust us.
no, no, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, you just gotta I think the most successful recipients, you gotta give your team full of the confidence. I mean, you have
You
to
feel.
just tell yourself, "I'm handing you
I
my
still
life."
ask plenty of questions. I still
100%.
ask
I ask all
so
the
many
time,
questions. It's
"Hey"
like, why are you doing this? Why are we doing that? What does this do?
yeah,
What
yeah.
if this doesn't
Or
work?
ask about a medication that you've been taking for 10 years
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, do you think that this is something I need to be taking?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, no, actually, your blood work that I think we can stop it." That's what
Yeah.
I do. I'm trying to take as least amount
Yeah.
of medication as I possibly can
Yeah.
without being reckless.
Yes.
Otherwise, I mean, if you don't tell them, "Hey, I don't really know if this is working or doing anything or my blood level's okay," if you don't have those conversations, they're not gonna look to take things away because the last thing
No.
they wanna do is introduce problems to you.
Right.
If you're not having any issues and they go changing meds and all of a sudden you have issues, that's
Yeah.
totally different, but when you
Yeah.
have somebody who's just like, "Listen, we can do this," and not all doctors are the same.
No.
And not every doctor-patient relationship is the same. Some
Right.
doctors have I like to think that my doctors truly know that I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
as far as,
Well, you have
a
to
day
earn
to
that from
day.
them too, though. Like if we have to earn that relationship too. You've got to be compliant with your medications. You can't just ask a ton of questions and be like, "Well, I don't think I need this, so I'm not going to take it."
Yeah.
No, you got to earn that. You got to earn their trust for them to know that you know what you're doing. And
Mhm.
again, you and I are a little different cases because we came in really young. Two, we came in with some experience managing complex medical regimens, and not everyone does. And so it was probably a little easier for both of us to kind of take it in stride and be like, well, I was already taking an entire handful of medications for cystic fibrosis. This is just different medications. It's different medications. They're a little more specifically timed. And so then, it's easier for us to kind of manage that regimen and earn that, to show I know what I'm doing because I've been managing a condition that was a lot more complicated than this. And so, but I think sometimes they'll say, hey, we could take less of this. Prednisone was probably about a year long conversation. It was brought up, and I was like, I don't know. Things are really good. I don't. But I'm also diabetic, and prednisone does terrible things to your blood sugar. And I run and I cycle a lot, and prednisone is really hard on your larger muscle groups. And so when Dr. Ba came in, no, Dr. Boz, sorry, the
Yeah,
head of the department now,
yeah,
I think his sons are soccer players. Like they're athletes. I think their whole family is athletes. And so he just had the conversation with me through a different lens. And I was
yeah,
like, oh, well, if that is what's happening and I don't really need it to keep my lungs in good working order, I'm okay with us trying it out. And so it
yeah.
just took a different doctor explaining it a different way for it to click for me. It's not that the other doctors don't know what they're doing. They do. It's just that particular phrasing and that particular conversation really clicked with me in a way that I didn't feel like this could be harmful.
Mhm.
And they would never suggest anything that would be harmful. They
Right.
don't do that. About Mayo too is they know the research, they know the protocol, but I have always felt like, especially when it comes to medications, they've always been willing to listen.
And if if you think you know something, I mean, they're not like, "Hey, this is the way it is. There's no other way we can do this, blah, blah, blah." Like, if a medication's really not doing well for you, like I said, they will find alternate
They will.
excuse me,
Yeah.
they'll find alternate for you,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's kind of a little out of the box, for
I
instance,
think
acupuncture, but
Yeah. I also think one of the most unexpected things for me post transplant is not all nutritional supplements like vitamins and things are okay for us. You can't just go and, I know there's a lot of this stuff on the internet now with Instagram and TikTok and people are like, "Oh, you're in your 40s, you should be taking this." And I'm like, "Oh, I should probably ask that question before I add
yeah.
because there are some things like they tell you no grapefruit, no pomegranate, no Seville oranges of all things. But there are other things too, like zinc. You don't want to take zinc without letting them know because it boosts your immune system and that might not be a good
Mhm.
idea. And so just learning to ask those questions before you're just like, oh, it's a vitamin, it's a supplement, it's completely harmless,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's good for Aunt Cheryl, but might not be
Yeah.
good for you.
It's good for this influencer here,
Mhm.
but it might
Yeah.
not be okay
It's
for
good for them because the company's paying them a fat check, you know?
fair.
Like, yeah,
But just be warned. Yeah.
it's just
So,
of just random people at their house just telling us, "You should buy
yeah.
this. It'll make your life a lot better."
Yeah,
And
you're
we
gonna
go out and
feel
buy it.
so much better.
One
Way
size fits
more.
all.
Yeah, and definitely, tell your team everything that you're taking.
Yeah, be very
Don't
honest
leave
with
it
them.
out.
No,
Don't
don't
leave it
leave it
out.
out because a lot of different things have interactions with things. Look at, like, gym supplements.
I don't even bother.
Yeah, I mean, I've asked them at some point, like, "Can I take protein shakes just to, like, bulk up a little bit?" I know I'm
Yeah.
never gonna be, 220.
Bodybuilder. It's fine.
Yeah, like, I'm fine with that. You know what? I don't really like to go into the gym.
Well, I love
Just
going
not
to
my
the
thing.
gym, but
I know.
I'm also never
That's
going to
where
be
we
a
differ.
bodybuilder.
Yeah, and I'm not a runner. My knees just
So what I hear you
quarter
saying
mile in
is
and,
you
like,
need a
all of a
bike.
sudden, I have shin splints like crazy.
You need a bike. That's your answer to
Oh, I have a
everything.
bike. It's an e-bike.
That's not a bike.
I've got like 80, probably got like 90 miles on that son of a gun.
Not a bike.
No,
You
it's
need
not, but man, are they fun.
You need a mountain bike and a road bike. You'll be much happier. That's
Mm.
my
I just need
prescription.
one of them like incumbent bikes where you just sit back, drink your coffee, get a little cup holder. Remember I had to do that during cardiopulmonary rehab
You
because
did.
I
Couldn't
couldn't
walk on
stand
the
it. I
treadmill.
couldn't do the treadmill. Yeah.
Man, those
They're
days are
like,
long
oh,
behind
we
us.
got to move it over to the bike. I'm like, ah, okay. Let's make me feel even more handicapped than I already am.
Kylo.
Yeah,
No.
it's rehab. we gotta get a hold of the girls. We gotta get
We
all 4
do.
of us on
They
here.
need to come have a conversation with us because
Yeah.
they will do it better.
Yeah, and
They
they
are.
just they get it. They get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll have to put the word out, Lori and Jane.
Jane and Lord.
Yep. 2 faves.
Yep.
I mean, they're all great. They're all great, don't get me wrong, but
They are.
you definitely
But
gravitate towards the ones who are so hands-on, you know?
yes, they really
But
do. Everybody gets invested. Everybody does. And it
yeah.
just makes everything better.
Yep, they sure do. And then so what do you take? Do you take you take a daily antibiotic, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, so I take Bactrim every day. I think most people take double strength like 3 times a week,
So I took double
unless you're
strength Monday,
allergic to
Wednesday,
it.
Friday the first time, and now that I take single strength this time Monday with
Okay, I take single strength every day.
okay, so that means you don't take azithromycin then?
I do, but I take 500 milligrams 3 times a week.
Okay. So
But
that's my opposite.
remember too with cystic fibrosis, because they don't do anything with your sinuses and they don't replace your trachea when you have a
Mhm.
transplant. We are colonized with bacteria generally, and it's in your sinuses,
Interesting.
and it
I never really thought
can.
about that.
I didn't either. I didn't know. These are all things that I learned when I had my transplant. I didn't know going in,
Mhm.
and I had CF. I mean, I was born with it.
Right.
So I do take a little bit more on the order of prophylactic antibiotics just to make sure that none of that comes back. Because what you don't want is for that bacteria to now get into your new lungs. And, praise the Lord,
Pester.
I've not had any trouble. I do still see an ENT twice a year, and I actually do medicated sinus rinses to make sure that everything stays open. I don't get any infections
Mhm.
there because again, we don't want
Mhm.
anything. And CF patients are just prone to that. Almost everybody. I don't want to say everybody because I don't know the actual statistics, but
Right.
I would say almost everyone is colonized with bacteria by the time they have a transplant. And it is when you have cystic fibrosis and you have active infections all the time, they do become drug resistant. So, but since my transplant, I haven't really been sick. I've had a couple of infections that were easily managed with oral antibiotics, which, before my transplant, I was having to do IV antibiotics and more inhaled medications. And so they have that, whatever I have had causing problems has become sensitive to antibiotics again. Just I take a little extra just to be sure, but I don't know that that's it doesn't sound like that's very common.
Yeah, can't really relate to that
It is what
at
it is.
all.
So,
Yeah, I just don't have all the cystic fibrosis knowledge.
I mean,
I
honestly,
mean,
some of this stuff is
it's a good
truly
thing.
I learned it during transplant.
I
Alexa, turn
wouldn't
on
you
the
wouldn't
Halo.
believe the things that I learned about myself during the transplant process that I'm like,
It's
"Huh,
pretty amazing.
that's
You're like, I thought
that's
I knew everything about
connected."
my disease.
Yeah, it's like, "That's connected to that, and that's connected to" well, son of a gun. Yeah,
Yeah. Who knew? Yeah.
yeah, like, you're 16 years old and you have osteoporosis. I'm like,
That's the
"What's that from?"
steroids.
"How do I do that?" And they're like, "Well, the prednisone." I'm like, "The stuff that's keeping me alive
Yeah.
is also killing me." So,
Yeah.
I've had that my whole life. Yeah, take these meds. They're really bad for you, but
But also, you're not going to die. And if you don't take
yeah,
them, you will.
yeah,
This is exactly why you need to start running and lifting heavy weights too. You'll reverse your osteoporosis.
the world ain't ready to see just buff me.
I
Couldn't
mean, give
handle
it a
it.
try. Give
I don't
it a
know if I
try.
yeah, it's just like a motivation thing.
I know. It's really hard to get started. It's really hard for it to become a habit. I mean, it took years of I think really the only reason I started running and going to the gym consistently is because after a transplant, those are the conversations. You got to exercise, you got to take care of them.
Use them or
And
lose
I
them.
just use them or lose them. And I really just kind of threw myself into that. And now, after, 11 plus years, we just did a duathlon last weekend. We're getting ready to sign up for, we've
I
got
was
one for June. It was good. It was hard. This course is always hard. It's hilly, and they had to shorten the bike race by 3 miles because there was some flooding, but it was good.
mhm,
It was good. This one's always fun. So I never want to start them though. I'm always like, I don't want to do this. I can't do it. I hate this.
yeah.
It's not fun. And then as soon as it's over, I'm like, Well, that was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, running is just intimidating to me. I think it's because I just could never do it, and I'd get like a I couldn't even run 100 feet. I'm not gonna sit here
It's
and
hard.
pretend I could ever run, but yeah, and then by the time you're 20, mid-20s, and you're like, "Oh, now you can run." I'm like, "Well, shit, I hurt
I'm
everywhere.
good.
I don't wanna run."
I don't want to.
I'm
Yeah.
uh, just not a runner. I don't mind lifting weights. The problem is I never really learned about muscle groups 'cause, didn't have any
We pay somebody else
didn't
for that. Yeah, that's we like
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
I wish I could do like this, the personal trainer and stuff, but again, it's like, I don't wanna spend the money and then not go through with it.
YouTube.
'Cause I just know that it's not something that is super important to me, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think
if
that's but
going
I
to the
think
gym would make your children better or you know, make my kids better in some way where it
you
was,
would
like,
do it.
more than just me, I would
You
do
would
it.
do it.
But
Yeah,
because
I
it's
get
just me,
that. I
I'm like,
get
"I don't
that.
really need to do that." I'm
Well, but
not
I think you
overweight, I don't have any
yeah.
issues, so
You bring up a good point though, and they will tell you like food and exercise are medicine too. So we take all of this stuff, but that's not everything. Food and medicine are exercise for us as well. And they are for everyone, but really more so. It's a lot more important for us. But I think what's important is you do pick something that you'll stick with. And if you don't have
Mhm.
any interest in running and lifting heavy weights, there's no point in even starting because you're just going to be frustrated. So you
Yeah,
find what you
and
like.
it's the same thing every time. I get, like 2 weeks I get right out of that sore period where you're
Yeah.
like, your muscles are done being sore, and then I'm like, "Alright, I'm done."
I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, you'll find something that you like. You'll find something that you can stick with. And as your kids get older, maybe you'll find something that
Oh,
y'all
I'm
can stick together.
definitely active. I mean,
Yeah, I know you
we're
guys are never still.
Monday through Thursday, we're at some sporting event. And, I kinda tweaked my knee at the beginning of flag football season for Ben, so I'm not coaching, um, any of them right now, but usually I coach. I mean, if I can coach 2 of them, I will.
Yeah.
I'm not doing Charlie does dance and gymnastics, so
So
I
you're
don't think
not
I'm
just
qualified.
riding the e-bike.
Oh, no. BMX bike with an electric motor on it. I mean, it's as, like, nimble as can be.
Little boy's dream.
God, even better, I got it when I'm 37.
I have adult money and I can get an e-bike. That's
Yeah,
fine.
definitely not adult mentality.
I mean, you know what? We've been through a lot. It's okay to have a little bit of a childlike mentality from time to time. We
Yeah.
missed a lot when we were kids.
I
We missed
missed
out on a lot.
I missed my entire childhood. I mean,
Yeah.
I rode bikes with the other kids, but, if they decided they were gonna drop a gear and disappear,
You
I
were
would
left
just
you were
yeah,
dropped.
I just remember going home. I'm like, "I'll just
There
go
it goes.
home
Yeah.
because I can't I can't go that way. I can't do
Yeah.
these things." They drive around, we put 20 miles a day on their bicycles, and, I'm good for a couple miles over the
Yeah.
course of 8 hours.
Yeah.
Feel like you're robbed of your childhood. I'm skiing again. Do I need to be skiing? Absolutely not. But
That's all right.
I can do it for 4
Why
hours and
why
not
not?
get tired. Yeah,
Why wouldn't you do it? I mean, we're going
it's just
snowboarding
fun.
again in January.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why
And
wouldn't you?
you broke a bone, I busted my ACL.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
it's
not gonna
fine.
stop just because I got hurt. I mean, one thing
I'm
if I
all
lost a
patched up.
leg, but I'd probably still find a way to do it. I don't know, I like
Well,
being on the mountain, it's fun.
it's a good mentality.
Yeah.
It'll keep us young, it'll keep us healthy living like that.
As all these medications we take age us.
Yeah, well, you know what? We got to counteract it somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. But aside from your anti-rejection and your antibiotics, you take much of anything else?
I take metoprolol because I do have a
Same.
little bit of high blood pressure, but also I have an unnaturally high heart rate. Just I always have, and it kind of helps with that.
Mhm.
And then other than that, like prescription medications, I do take Singulair because I did have a tiny bout of rejection like 6 years ago,
I take
5 or
Singular
6
as
years
well.
ago. And so I take that prophylactically now. I could probably stop taking it, but everything's good, so I don't really want to take anything away.
Right.
And then I take insulin. I take 2 different kinds of insulin for the diabetes, but that's really and I know this is gonna sound crazy. That's really all the prescription medication Prilosec,
Mhm.
I need to take that too. That's really
Yep.
all the prescription medication that I take, which sounds like a lot to somebody who doesn't, but it's
And
so much
I'm
less.
down to 9 pill bottles,
Yeah,
so
it's so much
I'm
less
okay with
than you
that.
take in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I take more than 9 pills, but I only have 9 pill bottles. I
Yes.
take a couple of my tax and
Yes.
whatever, but as far as, like, the amount of medications, the number of pills is, like, a third of what I went home with
Yeah.
originally.
Yes.
When I tell you they send you home with an Aldi's bag of
Suitcase.
scripts, I'm not joking. Like, you're not leaving
Yeah.
that hospital without 3 months in that bag. They
Yes.
and it's like and I when I was first transplant, I remember it was like I was taking 32 pills, something like that a day.
It was a lot.
Twice I mean, not twice a day, but, 16 in the morning, maybe 16, 17 at night, it's just
Yeah.
taking a lot of
Yeah.
medication, you just get in the habit of just tossing them down the hatch, like,
Yep.
that's when after, I don't know, probably the first few years, I was like, "Alright, what are we taking that we don't we're
Need.
taking just in case?" Like, I'm okay with the just in case meds, but my
Can we
kidneys are worked so hard, so the less that they need to filter, the better.
Yes.
I just had an educated conversation with the doctors, and I told them, I'm like, "Listen, I'll call you if something's different. If something changes and I don't feel
Yes.
great, I'll let you know. I'm not doing this for nothing.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna take things that I don't have to make my kidneys work harder because am I gonna need a kidney transplant? Yeah. I
Possibly
mean, they straight up told me that usually by 10 years, you're somewhere
in the
near
range.
kidney. Yeah. And I'm 12, almost 13. So, I mean, they've told me it's not anything immediately on the radar, but it's coming because
Yeah.
I do have issues with I was in kidney failure for 6 months over the summer.
Okay.
Finally, you know, it came down. Blood work is so hard because not every time you go blood work is the same way you got up in the morning, you know?
Right.
Did you
Or the
wake up
same
and
day
chug a
before.
I'm really bad at waking up and chugging a glass of water before blood work. I
I
am.
can't do that.
I just
I
yeah,
can't.
because if I'm gonna drink water, I'm gonna take my pills. So I'm just not one that's gonna wake up and drink a 12,
I will
16-ounce
never.
glass of water.
Not gonna happen. I mean, I'll drink 16 ounces of coffee immediately after I wake up,
Amen.
but I'm
But
not
I can't do that
grabbing.
because I drink my coffee with sugar. So when I'm fasting, I can't do that. I
Uh,
refuse to drink my coffee without sugar.
I'll wait. Like, I'll carry it with me. I'll ask for the earliest blood work possible on days that I know it's got to be fasting
Yeah.
blood work. Please don't torture me. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and I'll even tell them, I'm like, "Hey, if we're just checking tack, then let's not check my sugars because I wake up and I drink coffee. I mean,
Yeah,
just what I do. Make
yeah.
coffee, take the kids to school, and go on about my day, but I was kinda the same way. I'm like, Don't schedule the fasting stuff if I don't
At
absolutely
eight
have to have
o'clock.
it."
Don't schedule the
Well, just
fasting
because
stuff
you
at eight
and
in the
just because your
morning.
blood work's at 8 o'clock doesn't mean you're going back there at 8.
I get to go to the one on Gate Parkway now, and it's never very crowded, so you don't wait as
Yeah,
long, which is so nice.
I go to a satellite office as well, and it's, like, 2 people in there.
Yeah, it's nice. It's easy.
Anyways, well, trying to think of what we'll talk about next week.
Figure
Figure
something out
something
for
out.
sure.
We can even talk about, what the protocols are for when we do get sick,
Yeah, we could.
what are you supposed to do? What do you do at
How do you
12,
avoid it?
13 years out? How do we avoid it if it's avoidable?
Sometimes it's
Seasonal
not.
allergies, knowing the difference between allergies and
Well, good luck
sickness.
to the fat duck on that one because I have yet to figure it out. There's always a
Every time
mechanic.
I panic, the next day I'm like, I think it might have just been allergies.
Okay.
I
Yes,
might have
that's a
just had the
great
windows
topic for
open.
next time, especially because it's the time of year. I mean, this is the time of year to talk about it.